Okay, so in the David Burke, Celeste Hernandez case, we're going to start with um, basically, I'm going to break down some of the charges and so forth. But first, we're also going to watch the hearing. It was very brief, but it basically tells me that they're going to give a pretty, the DA is going to be very difficult to deal with for whatever reason in this case, which I understand the homicide, but you know, anyway. Uh, so we're going to break those down after the video, but first I wanted to kind of go over some of the core counts that he received. One of those was first-degree homicide, because I can't say the M word, lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14, and mutilation of human remains. And prosecutors have also alleged that special circumstances, including lying in wait, financial gain, and unaliving a witness, which can greatly increase the punishment if they can prove that. So that's something else we're going to talk about, is the motive, and we're going to get into a little bit of that today. I don't know what that was. But first I wanted to play the video so that you guys can kind of see what the DA says about the case, and then we will describe the charges and the nature of the charges, what consisted of, and all that good stuff.
Calling People versus David Anthony Burke. That's case number 26 CJC F02399.
Good morning or good afternoon, Your Honor. Blair Burke, Marilyn Bednarski, and Regina Peter on behalf of our client, David Burke, who's in custody.
Thank you. And good afternoon, Mr. Burke.
Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman for the people, Your Honor.
Thank you. And counsel, on behalf of your client, do you waive formal reading of the complaint, advisement of rights, including armed forces and veterans' rights, enter a plea of not guilty, denying any and all special allegations, enhancements, and priors?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're requesting a preliminary hearing within the period?
Yes, Your Honor. From the media reports, apparently there have been 4 months of secret grand jury proceedings. We believe that Mr. Burke is entitled at the earliest opportunity to an open preliminary hearing and the proceedings not be done in secret. So we are asking for a preliminary hearing to be set at the earliest possible date on the 10th day. Your Honor, we believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Hernandez, nor was he the cause of her death. And we would like to be able to have the evidence come into the light of day at the earliest opportunity in order to establish that. We're asking for April 23rd as a 3 of 10, Your Honor.
Anything from the people?
We'll be very happy to put on the evidence that we've collected in this case in the last several months.
Thank you. So the matter will be set. Plea of not guilty has been entered on behalf of Mr. Burke. The matter will be set in Department 105. The matter is ordered assigned to Judge Charlene Almeida in Department 105 for all purposes by the Judge of the Supervising Judge of Criminal.
Yes, Your Honor. If I may just put on the record, we have, as soon as the people arrive, delivered a informal discovery request consistent with Penal Code Section 1054. We have been given almost no discovery thus far. We've received a 3-page follow-up report, no autopsy report, and a copy of the complaint. And we would ask the people respectfully to produce discovery at the earliest opportunity.
Your Honor, as I've indicated to counsel, there's approximately 40 terabytes of discovery in this case. Moreover, in order to obtain the transcripts from a grand jury investigation, counsel has to file a motion. She knows the way the system works. I'm not able to gather those. They have to be provided after the court orders them released because it was an investigation. Second of all, if counsel plans on going to a preliminary hearing within the 10 days, it is unlikely that there will be very much discovery provided within that period, given the voluminous nature and how long it's going to take to copy onto drives. In addition to that, the coroner's report was sealed in this case in order to prevent it from hampering truthful testimony from witnesses that testified at the grand jury. So an order will also have to be obtained in order to get the coroner's department, which is now the medical examiner's department, to release those materials.
Your Honor, it's surprising news given the district attorney's office held a press conference this morning where they discussed the cause of death, apparently under seal and not released by the coroner's office, as did the robbery homicide unit to the press. So we would again reiterate, we believe that Mr. Burke is entitled to discovery. We have served the people with notice. They have 15 days to produce discovery in this case. We would ask that they do that in conscientious earnestness and as quickly as possible.
I'd ask the court to make an order today. We'll take a copy of the minute order ordering the Department of Medical Examiner to release their coroner's report in this case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The court will order that the medical examiner release the report in this case forthwith.
Thank you.
The matter set in Department 105, as the court indicated, April 23rd, 2026, as a 3:10 p.m. Anything further?
No, not at this time.
Bail to stand at no bail. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. So what you just seen was the hearing for David and Celeste Hernandez. Now, this part of the segment, basically what we got from this is that they're going to make it pretty difficult. For one, there's no bail. No bail permitted it, and I would assume that he had these attorneys retained in advance. We also know that, which some of us knew, some of us didn't, but I didn't know that it was that long. But for 4 months, they've had a secret grand jury meeting in the case. So that's interesting. Yep. Okay, so just a second. So this is what was on the website. This was on the press release website. He's being charged with capital homicide. I have to say that word instead of M, of 14-year-old girl. It says victims decomposed and dismembered remains found in David's vehicle. Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hodgman announced that musician David Anthony Burke, known as D4vd, was charged today with homicide of a 14-year-old Celeste R., whose body was found decomposed and dismembered in his car that had been impounded in September 2025. She was just a child under 14 years old when he allegedly engaged in repeated lewd and lascivious relations with her. Now pay attention, because this is where they are getting the charges that they are charging him with. Now, district attorney said that Burke's actions did not allegedly stop there. When she threatened to expose his criminal conduct and devastate his music career, Burke allegedly unalived her, cut up her body, and stuffed her body in 2 bags. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I should have put no disturbing. So those 2 bags were then placed in the front trunk of his car. There, the dismembered body sat for over 4 months, decomposing, until it was found at a tow yard on September 8, 2025. Now, this horrific and gruesome homicide committed by the charged S predator is shocking and appalling to Celeste's loved ones. We will get the justice you seek and deserve. And remember, this is exactly what they've put on the website. Burke, date of birth 3/28/05, was charged in case, and has the case number with one count each of homicide, continuous S abuse of child under 14, unlawful mutilation of human remains. The criminal complaint also includes special circumstances, allegations of homicide of a witness, homicide for financial gain, and lying in wait, as well as special allegation that Burke personally used a deadly and dangerous weapon, a sharp instrument, to commit the crime. Now, arraignment. Now, on April 23rd, Burke invited, and this is 2025, Burke invited the victim to his home in Hollywood Hills. Celeste arrived at the defendant's house and was never seen again. Now, on September 8, 2025, the victim's decomposed, dismembered remains were found in the front trunk of a car registered to Burke that had been impounded after the vehicle had been reported abandoned. Now, there's a lot more details in this. This is just what's off the website. And I'm going to be going over them with you guys. So that'll answer a lot of your questions. If convicted, and this is on their website says that if convicted as charged, Burke faces the deep or life in state prison. So he could face the deep penalty, and they're making determinations. I know that they announced that they're making determinations whether or not they're going to, whether or not they're going to pursue that. So that's, they haven't determined if they're going to do that yet, but he faces the D penalty, and he also faces, he faces the D penalty or life in state prison without the possibility of parole. A decision on whether to seek the D penalty will be made at a later date. Now, the case is being prosecuted by Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman of the Major Crimes Division and remains under investigation by the Los Angeles Department. Now, I will say, when you all watch this video of the court hearing, and I just don't like that, the attitude and the lack of respect that she puts forward. No matter what the situation is, I think respect should be given. But it's as if she's putting on a show. But you'll see in the video, and I'm assuming that is the Deputy District Attorney, Beth Silverman, but she is very rude, and she's just, from the get-go, she puts off as very pushy, and just going to make the whole case difficult instead of making it, she's going to make it difficult. As in, she's going to be stubborn, she's going to make her, she's not going to be very cooperative unless necessary, kind of thing. Which I just didn't like her whole attitude, period. And you'll see in the video what I'm talking about. So that's what was on the website. And then, of course, his image was on the website, his mug shot, I'm assuming. Okay, so we're going to get into the video.
Good morning. My name is Nathan Hockman. I'm the District Attorney of Los Angeles County. With me up here is Los Angeles Police Department Chief Jim McDonnell. Also at this podium on the DA side are the Assistant District Attorney Maria Ramirez, who oversees our special operations. We have John McKinney, who is our Director of Specialized Prosecutions. The Assistant Head Deputy District Attorney is Habib Balian of the Major Crimes Division. Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman of the Major Crimes Division will be the lead prosecutor on this case. From the Los Angeles Police Department, we also have Captain Scott Williams, who's the commanding officer of LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division, the Chief of Detectives, Alan Hamilton, the Director of Specialized Prosecutions, Mike Rimkunis, and the LAPD detectives on this case, Josh Byers and Corey Farrell. Today, I am announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4vd, in connection with the brutal and horrific murder of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time. These charges include the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring. That is first-degree murder with special circumstances. The special circumstances being lying in wait, committing this crime for financial gain, or murdering a witness in an investigation. These special circumstances carry with it, along with the first-degree murder charge, a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. The determination on whether or not the district attorney's office will seek the death penalty will be made at a later time. Before I get into the actual charges, and there are additional charges against Mr. Burke, including continuous sexual acts, lewd and lascivious sexual acts with an individual under 14 years old, and mutilating a human remains of a body. Before I get into the description of these charges and their seriousness, I want to look at this as a parent. I am a parent of 3 children, and a parent's nightmare is a situation where your daughter goes out one night and never comes back. As we will show in a court of law, and what I also want to make sure about that the understanding of these charges is clear, is my description of these charges is not evidence that we are going to present in court. These charges, in fact, will not be evidence in the court. Evidence will be the witness testimony, the documents, and different types of admissible testimony that we will admit into court in the prosecution, and if it leads to the eventual trial of Mr. Burke, to convince a jury of 12 people beyond a reasonable doubt that each and every one of these charges is true, as well as the special allegations and circumstances that have been alleged. Now, back to this being a parent's nightmare. On April 23, 2025, as been alleged by the complaint, Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time, went to Mr. Burke's house in the Hollywood Hills. She was never heard from again. On September 8, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, Miss Celeste remains, her dismembered and decomposed remains, were found in 2 bags inside of a front trunk of a car registered to Mr. Burke. Thereafter began an investigation. The investigation was to determine who killed, who murdered Celeste months and months before. That investigation was carried out in unison and in partnership between the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division and the District Attorney's Office. At every point in the investigation, through the arrest and the filing of charges, the LAPD and the District Attorney's Office have worked in lockstep. There's been no disagreements amongst these entities in deciding how to proceed with this case, ultimately leading to these charges today. So what you have as well with these charges is that, again, there are 3 sets of charges that have been brought. The first-degree murder with special circumstances, and again, those special circumstances are lying in wait. That Celeste went to Mr. Burke's home on the night of April 23, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, at his invitation, and again, was not heard from again. The second is a special circumstance being that this murder was committed for financial gain. As the evidence will show in court, the financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening on that particular night. The third charge, in addition to lying in wait and for financial gain, is murdering a witness to an investigation. In this particular case, as the evidence will come out in court, the witness to the investigation was Celeste. And the investigation was into the lewd and lascivious sexual acts committed by Mr. Burke that is the subject of count 2 of this complaint with Celeste while she was under 14 years old. I had the chance to meet with some of the family members of Celeste, and their grief is uncalculable as to what happened to their daughter. What they have demanded, what we have assured them that the district attorney's office working with LAPD would give them, is the proof beyond a reasonable doubt on who killed their daughter, on how their daughter was killed, when their daughter was killed, and bring that killer to justice. That killer that we have now charged is David Anthony Burke. We will have questions after I speak and Chief McDonald speaks. At this point, I invite Chief McDonald to speak.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you all for being here. I want to begin by expressing my deepest condolences to the parents of Celeste Rivas. No parent or any human being should have to endure what you've gone through. Today, alongside DA Hochman and our partners at the LA County District Attorney's Office, and thanks to the tireless and hard work of our investigators at the LAPD, we're announcing the arrest and prosecution of David Burke for the murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas. Throughout the 7-month investigation, this department has faced criticism for how we handled the case and for our decision not to provide details. I want to be clear about something. My duty is not to fuel speculation, it's to deliver justice, and that requires patience and discipline on everybody's part. This investigation was driven by a single purpose: to secure justice for Celeste Rivas and for those who loved her. We had to be certain that nothing we did or said would ever jeopardize this case. Ms. Rivas was a reported runaway from Riverside County. During the course of our investigation, detectives learned that she had been involved in a sexual relationship with Mr. Burke when she was a minor and he was an adult. On April 23, 2025, Ms. Rivas arrived at Mr. Burke's home in the Hollywood Hills. That's the last time she was known to be alive. On September 8, 2025, Ms. Rivas' dismembered and badly decomposed body was discovered in the front trunk of Mr. Burke's impounded Tesla. From that moment forward, our investigators faced an extraordinarily difficult and complex case. The condition of her remains delayed the medical examiner's ability to be able to determine cause of death. The substantial amount of time that passed between her death and the discovery meant that crucial evidence had degraded or disappeared. And as detectives worked to uncover the truth, they also had to sift through and debunk a great deal of false information circulating publicly. These challenges were real, and they required patience, precision, and an unwavering commitment to the facts. Despite these obstacles, and despite intense public pressure, our Robbery Homicide Division detectives remained steadfast in their duties. They recovered and analyzed a substantial amount of digital and forensic evidence. They stayed focused, disciplined, and committed to uncovering the truth. Their work, in close collaboration with the District Attorney's Office, has brought us to this moment today. I want to thank the District Attorney and his team, as always, for their partnership. This case demanded coordination, persistence, and a shared commitment to justice. Also, thank you to our media partners for showing up today and for sharing this important message with the public. And finally, to Ms. Rivas' family, we cannot undo the pain you are feeling. Our hope is that today brings some measure of accountability and a step in the journey toward healing. Please know that the Los Angeles Police Department remains fully committed to seeking justice on behalf of your daughter. Thank you.
So at this point, we'll take questions.
Anything more you can tell us about the fact that she was a witness as a pending investigation, that she reported the abuse, who was doing that investigation?
The details of the allegations that have made, particularly with that special circumstance, will be produced in court.
Did you determine cause of death and the difficulty it was to determine both the manner, cause, and date?
So with respect to the coroner's report, we will be seeking quite quickly to provide an order to the court that now allows the coroner to release that report to the public.
Do you believe that he acted from the BBC between the finding of the body of Celeste's body or her remains? Why has it taken so long for an arrest to be made?
I think the police chief got it right. That in a situation where you don't have an eyewitness account, or we can't point to a video that shows the killer killing someone, you have to go through the very rigorous and thorough investigation to look at all the digital and forensic evidence. You have to speak with witnesses, often who are cooperative, and some who are not cooperative, in order to obtain all the information necessary to decide who did what, when, how, and what their mental state was at the time. That is what we've been doing over the last, between September 8th, roughly, and today when we bring these charges on April 20th. So again, it's a type of case that you want to make sure you get maximum information. And by the way, if there's anyone out there that has material information about this particular murder or any other actions taken by Mr. Burke, please come forward to the Los Angeles Police Department, come forward to the LA County DA's office, and report that information.
Mr. Hoffman, there are other people who are aware of this relationship. Is it possible that you will be arresting other people within his circle, and did he act alone in this death?
Again, with respect to whether or not there's any other individuals or we're going to take any other actions, you will know about them if we do, but at this point I'm not commenting.
Do you believe that you know how she was killed, beyond it being homicide? The actual cause of death?
The coroner's report will be released shortly. Because it is not currently released, I'm not going to be commenting on it.
But was it determined, not that, if you won't say what it was, but has it been determined how she was killed, beyond it being homicide?
The coroner has made a determination on how Celeste died, and at the point that the coroner's report becomes public, we'll be able to comment on it.
Was there a specific breakthrough last week? Is there physical evidence that ties David to this murder?
There is physical evidence and there is forensic and digital evidence that we intend to present in court to prove these charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Only a couple more questions.
Yes.
Your investigation, and just to his question, are you able to tell us exactly what the smoking gun is? And also, if you can address the issue of his visit to Santa Barbara, and that, how does it connect with the murder?
So with respect to the actual details of the evidence we're going to be presenting in court, I'm not going to do that today. As far as the concept of a smoking gun, the smoking gun is the totality of the evidence that we're going to bring to prove any case, whether it's this case or any case, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Is there any evidence that he abused other underage girls? Is that being investigated?
An investigation is ongoing. If information comes forward on with respect to any additional crimes, we will certainly investigate it.
There's been so much discussion about the difficulties in this case. The chief talked about it as well. What makes you confident you can prove these allegations?
What makes us confident is the totality of the evidence that has been obtained by the LAPD robbery homicide, by the work that the district attorney's office has done, that has led us to the point where we believe we can prove each and every one of these three charges and the special circumstances and the special allegation beyond a reasonable doubt.
Thank you, everybody. Raise your hand if you have Spanish language and you need a Spanish language translation. Okay. Keep your hands up. My team will come around to you and we will have someone to guide you.
Thank you very, very much.
Can you comment on why we arrested? Sorry, everybody. Thank you.
So she was 14 at the time of her unaliving, and the prosecutor theory is especially serious because it alleges that motive beyond homicide alone. And what I mean by that is the motive was beyond more than just unaliving her. It went into depths. They take it's a whole nother ball game whenever you start to dismember a body because, well, sometimes they dismember for transport and sometimes for other means. Example, if you see a body and the hands or the arms are gone, it's usually because they're trying to eliminate DNA evidence. But whenever you have a dismembered body, sometimes it's for transportation purposes. But apparently, this was more about not just getting rid of. From my understanding, it goes beyond more than just unaliving her, and that's clear because dismemberment. So after, let's see, it says that Nathan Hotchman, which you all know is not my favorite person, but anyways, he said that authorities believe that Burke unalived her to protect his rising music career. So basically, whatever argument that they had or disagreement, she had compromised and kind of threatened his career, being that, well, I mean, even her coming out with them being in a relationship would compromise his career because really she was like 12, 13 when they got together. I can't remember. Been seeing each other, but regardless, she was still a young child, even then when she was unalived. So she had threatened his career after she allegedly threatened to report this S relationship. Prosecutors also say that the witness in the special circumstances allegation is Celeste herself. So apparently they have text messages and things to solidify that because she could have testified about the S crime allegations. That framing is legally significant because it elevates the case from a homicide investigation to one involving alleged witness elimination and concealment. Wow. So another important point is timing. So, okay, so before you guys ask, because I know I'm going to get questions, what that basically is insinuating, they probably have video, text message, or something that shows that she had, she was afraid this was going to happen, or the S crimes, whatever. There's something that's going, and it could just be something as simple as her texting about their S relationship, their intimate relationship, and that alone is, but clearly they have some evidence per Hotchman, and he did discuss how if it goes to trial, they'll get more in depth. But before trial, it will probably be text messages and that kind of thing. But if they go to trial, then they will be more in depth with images and things like that. That's what he stated today in the video that we just played. Another important point is timing. So the public had questioned why an arrest did not come sooner after her remains were found. And he stated that a legal expert cited by people said that the delay may reflect the time needed to determine cause of death, which strengthened the forensic picture and potentially secure witness cooperation before filing major charges. That explanation lines up with how prosecutors often handle complex homicides, cases like where the body's badly decomposed and the state wants to avoid filing prematurely. Now, Burke was arrested last week, and as of today's reporting, is being held without bail. So his attorneys have publicly denied the allegations, and I hope his defense is ready because it just seems like that the state is going to be difficult to deal with. So he's denying it, and at this stage, what we have is the prosecution's detailed accusation, but I'm so sorry. So sorry, guys. I didn't mean to. I should have put do not disturb on there. So at this stage, what we have is the prosecution's detailed accusation, but not an adjudicated finding of guilt. So the next hearing will be the preliminary hearing, and we're going to get more will be out. The evidence, more, they're going to be given more details and so forth. So we will be live streaming it, and also we'll be updating because there'll be quite a few updates from here even until the 23rd. So we will be giving some updates in regards to that. So make sure that whenever you select subscribe to our YouTube channel that you hit all on the bell so that you get all notifications. Okay, so you all have seen all of the video breakdown. So a quick but important thing. I don't know if I've said this, but I don't know why I was calling it preliminary, but it's the arraignment. And then next is the preliminary hearing. Now the preliminary hearing, from what I have gathered, is set for the 23rd of April. So moving forward, so prosecutors have formally actually moved forward on these serious allegations tied to the homicide of Celeste Hernandez. And she was, at the time of the homicide, she was 14 years old. Public reporting states that Burke is charged with first degree, which we just went over that, first degree homicide. Now, along with additional counts, they allege that the abuse of a child under 14 and mutilation of human remains. Now, prosecutors have also described special circumstance allegations that could make the case even more severe if they ultimately sustained, including theories such as like lying in wait, financial gain, and unaliving a witness. During the arraignment, for those of you who, because I know everybody kind of has some issues with understanding it, and that's fine. That's what we do, is break these things down. Yeah, exactly. So during the arraignment, Burke did not enter a guilty plea. Instead, he pled not guilty. Okay, and the defense pushed for the case to move quickly into a more evidentiary stage. Defense attorney Blair Burke is the one who spoke the most. Whenever you see the one that's speaking so much in the hearing, that is his defense attorney, Blair Burke. She told the judge that the defense wants a public preliminary hearing as soon as possible, particularly after months of reporting about a secret grand jury activity. She said that the defense wants the evidence brought into open so a judge can evaluate whether prosecutors actually have enough to hold the case for trial. Now, the judge also denied bail in the case, which means that he'll remain in custody as the case moves forward, throughout the next hearing. And that is a significant development because it shows the court is treating the allegations very seriously. And is exceptionally serious at this stage, as they should, considering the nature of the allegations. And I know I'm going to get 100 questions on this, so I'm just going to go ahead and address it. You are entitled to bail as long as it's not like, generally they do not have to give you bail in capital cases. So they don't have to, they don't have to in those circumstances. And in this case, they're not. So, prosecution has not yet made a final decision on whether to seek the death penalty. We're supposed to find that out later on. But that possibility remains under consideration because of the nature of the allegations and the special circumstance claims attached to the homicide charge. So, as for factual allegations behind the charges, prosecutors say that Celeste Hernandez was last seen alive in April 2025. We do have a whole spreadsheet on that, and I'm hoping to upload that to Patreon very soon. Her remains were later discovered in September 2025, and in his impounded Tesla. Authorities alleged that her body had been dismembered and that the unaliving was connected to an alleged S relationship. And prosecutors say that Burke wanted to keep from being exposed. So that was his reasoning or motive behind the homicide. Now, they have also, prosecutors have also argued that Burke acted to protect his career, basically, because that would expose and ruin his career if she were to come forth with the relationship in general. So that was his. So apparently they've got text messages or witness testimony. I'm not really sure, but we'll find out. That basically solidifies the fact that there was something there. So the biggest takeaway Now, remember, those are the state's allegations at this point, so they must be proved in court. So we're going to find out. And they do plan on letting us know more as soon as possible and as soon as time permits. Because we're right now at the arraignment, which is, the arraignment is the guilty, not guilty phase. So now we're trying to push this along a little further. So the biggest takeaway from the hearing is it was not the preliminary hearing, it was the arraignment. And so today was the first formal major court appearance after charges were filed. So Burke entered not guilty, the court kept him without bail, and the defense requested a public preliminary hearing, so that's good. Which is now reportedly set for April 23rd. So they are pushing it along, pushing along pretty good. So that upcoming hearing is the one that we're going to hope to watch closely. We will be live streaming it, so and that's on True Crime PhD. That'll be on our YouTube site, but we will later post it to all media platforms. Right. So the reason why the next hearing is important, I'm sorry guys, the next hearing is important because it is where the prosecution will begin to lay out more of its evidence. So we will be getting more evidence. It'll begin to start unfolding. Yeah. And as you can see from the videos that, are on my website of the court hearing and so forth, I believe her name's Silverman, is what I said. The state attorney is very pushy. You can just tell she's going to be, it's as if she's putting on an act in my opinion, but she looks, seems to be making things more difficult than necessary, but you can just tell she's going to be difficult. So remember, upcoming hearing April 23rd. We'll put it in our calendar on reminders and on our website, truecrimephd.com. So hopefully we will be getting more of that evidence. And then also for our spreadsheets and things, we do have quite a bit of things that we've accumulated over time. So you want to check that out on our Patreon and our website, truecrimephd.com, or our Patreon. And our links are in the bio. And we're going to hopefully have that uploaded either today or no later than tomorrow. But hopefully today. Just depends on how these assistants move. The assistant moves. She's been moving pretty fast lately. So yeah, we're going to keep a close eye on that. And see what details that we have here. Of course, I always make my notes. So something that we noticed here. Now they stated that authorities alleged that she was 14 at the time of the homicide, but he had been seeing her for some time before this, and we have it on our timeline. We'll have it on the documents that I'm going to post as well on the website. So you want to check that out because we have some pretty detailed information in that. Allegedly, with a sharp object, prosecutors further alleged that he mutilated her body about 2 weeks later. So apparently, once he unalived her, and I have to say that for purposes of YouTube, I know that's annoying. Once he unalived her, he mutilated her body 2 weeks later. So she had been decomposing for some time because it was 4 months, they stated, after she laid she was in the Tesla decomposing for 4 months. So yeah, pretty extensive. So her decomposed and dismembered remains were later found in September 2025 in